What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Today we're just doing some holiday baking. If you're new, my name is Cristin. Welcome to my channel. I am a lifestyle vlogger. I'm a mom of 2 boys. Christmas is next week, and well, when you guys are seeing this, it'll be like this Saturday. So got some baking to do. I got a holiday party coming up with my family, and so I just thought I would bake with you guys. So over there on the stove, this is gonna be for doing up candy cane cake pops. We're just waiting for this to cool, and this is just like your regular Duncan Hine cake mix. So I didn't bother showing you guys how I made it. So yeah, this is their dark chocolate fudge cake mix. The only thing I did differently here is that I added 1/4 of a teaspoon of peppermint oil. So, and it's the food grade for flavoring. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't want anybody to try to remake this and use like the kind you use for candles. There's 2 different kinds of peppermint oil, so make sure you get the kind for food, not the kind for making your house smell good. But that's all I did different. I followed the instructions on the box and added 1/4 of a teaspoon of peppermint oil. So while that is cooling, I'm working on making some cranberry apple muffins. So this recipe I actually got from Laura in the Kitchen. So I will leave a link to her website down below, laurainthekitchen.com, for the full recipe, because I don't, plagiarize them and stuff. I don't want to have any problems there. But I've got all my normal baking goods here. I've got my flours and my sugars, baking powders, baking sodas, all that here. I've got my eggs and my milk, and this is hopefully soft enough now. I did not get my butter out soon enough. It's supposed to be soft, room temperature butter. Also, I'm really horrible about adding my sugar to my flour when you're supposed to add it to your wet ingredients, and then when it comes to this point, I'm like, dang it, I already put my sugar in the flour. It's never really been a problem for me, but I always forget. So I love this recipe because it's a great opportunity to use up any like leftover canned goods, if you will. I know in Laura's recipe she calls for her homemade cranberry salad. Which, okay, crisis averted. A lightning McQueen got shoved underneath of the door. If you guys watched my kids' stocking stuffer video, you know what I'm talking about. It was a disaster. So anyways, great thing about this recipe is that it lets you use up some things you might have sitting around your house. So for Laura's recipe, she calls for her homemade cranberry salad or sauce. Is it salad? Is it sauce? I don't really know the difference. And in hers that's homemade, she puts apples in it. I myself have always used the canned cranberry apple sauce. It's like a jelly. And so we had too many of these for Thanksgiving because we didn't end up having Thanksgiving and it got canceled because quarantine. I got exposed, so we had to cancel Thanksgiving. So I'll use this up, and then I had some apples in my fridge that had seen better days. They're not rotten apples. I need to preface that, okay? Like if they're moldy, if they're mushy, if they're just bad apples, don't use them. But these apples were starting to get a little soft, right? So they needed to get used up, and when you bake with them, they get soft anyway, so it's like a perfect time to use them. And Laura says in her recipe for her cranberry salad, she puts apples in it. So great time to use up my cranberry salad or sauce, cranberry sauce, and my apples. So we're just go ahead and start mixing this. See, if I had my sugar in here, it would make things easier when it comes to my butter. I don't know, it'd be like less like it would have something in there to like absorb the liquids that are in here. That's the word I'm looking for. Words. So, and I made this on Thanksgiving because we also had extra cranberry sauce after Thanksgiving, and they were so moist and delicious. Like, I am excited for these. Like, when you think cranberry apple muffins, you think like that's old people food. Not trying to be offensive, but that's exactly what I think is like, sounds like something they might have at a nursing home, you know, like, but it's delicious. Like, call me a grandma, but it's moist, it's delicious, it's sweet, and it doesn't call for a lot of sugar, but when you put your cranberry salad or sauce in here along with your apples, oh, it's delicious, it's amazing. So, and then something I do add to this is I add I add 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, mostly just because I have it on hand. and I opt out of doing the lemon zest or the orange zest that she recommends, just because I have allergies to oranges. So little differences to mine versus hers, but still a great recipe. And then I'm going to try something a little different at the end of this, which is I'm going to make a little icing and drizzle it on top of the muffins. So I think that'll be super delicious like that. So go ahead and add in our apples. I've got 2 small apples, diced, you know, diced thin and small. And we'll go ahead and get our cranberry sauce. I thought we were gonna get a cool shot there where it just came out, but it's not happening. Oh no. There we go. Right on it. And it does give these muffins a beautiful red color without adding any kind of food coloring to it. Well, assuming there's no food coloring in this. There could be. No, it doesn't have food coloring listed. So, you know, the red coloring of these is going to be just a natural food coloring, which is awesome because my cousin's boy is not allowed to have red food dye. So I have to make sure I let her know that there's no red food dye in this recipe. So I'm not one to normally fuss around messing with cupcake liners. I feel like they're just kind of like a wasted expense, except for if you have like a party to take them to and you're going to be sharing with other people. Like for here at the house, like we all touch each other's food. You know, we're family, it don't matter. And though we are family, at the family get together we're going to, we're not immediate family, you know. So I feel like it's just nicer to have the cupcake liners a little bit neater. So I went ahead and picked these up, and they are kind of holiday-esque. They're red polka dot and white polka dot. Or maybe that's a hot pink. I'm not really sure. It looks red to me, like a very light red. So if you choose not to use the liners, just make sure you do a lot of non-stick cooking spray. The first time I made these, I did butter. Like I buttered the inside of each little tin, and they slid out perfectly. I didn't have any issues. So something to consider. Okay, and then just using my handy dandy scoop, we're just gonna fill up each little muffin cup. Okay, I've got a dozen muffins ready to go into the oven. So I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees and it'll cook for about 20 minutes. Okay, so this is another recipe from LauraInTheKitchen.com, so it'll be linked down below. This is her honey wheat bread. I don't have any wheat flour, so I just, instead of using part of the white flour and then part of the wheat flour measurements, I just added extra white flour. And it works out because if you're making wheat bread, turns out you need to have, you stir that for me, turns out you need to have, hey, careful, you need to have some gluten, which I don't have, so if you're just doing white bread, you don't really need it. So, while he mixes up all of my powdery stuff over there, we are going to get the yeast going. So, I've got my little packet of yeast here, and my warm water. So I've got 1.5 cups warm water. Just open that over top so we don't have any spillage. There we go.
Hi vlog, I'm making.
Give it a little stir. Okay, so 1 teaspoon sugar over top of the yeast.
It's done.
And then we're just gonna let this all set for a few minutes. Let it all come together. I swear I'm gonna drop the sugar off the side of my island.
Dinosaur. Can I use honey?
Okay, to our,
Can I use the honey?
hold on a moment. To our flour mixture, we need to have 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm gonna hold that. Mommy will put the oil in and then you can dump it.
Yes.
Here, hold it like this. You're gonna have more control like that, okay? So hold it like that until Mommy has it ready. 1. Good job. 2. 3. Okay, keep holding it. And then we need 3 tablespoons of honey. And so doing the oil first, in theory, will make the honey a little easier to come out. We'll see if it works like that.
Good job.
Thank you. You're doing a good job too.
Thank you.
Okay, there's one. Yep, that popped right out. That was beautiful. I hope that caught on camera.
Well, they popped out. We need 3 cups of soups.
3 cups of soups. 3 tablespoons of honey. It'll start coming out again. Okay, there's 2. Okay, 1 more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for holding. Let's keep it flat.
There's more honey.
Well, that's gonna about use up the rest of our honey. Okay. Did it come out? Oh, that one's sticking a little bit. Here, I'm gonna use a finger. Remember guys, hands are made for washing. Don't be afraid to get in there. Okay, you gonna start stirring for me?
Yes.
Stir it all up. And it looks like our yeast is ready. I haven't worked with yeast enough to really identify what it means by when it starts blooming, but this is my guess.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.
So if you guys can kind of see these little like yeasty patches here and there, I'm guessing that's what it means.
Done. It's done. Can I use it?
It's warm water, baby, so mommy's gonna pour this one, okay? Okay. Now we just gotta mix it all together. So of course, if you guys have a dough hook or something, you can use that. But I don't. I just do everything by hand.
It's done.
Not quite done yet. It smells so good. It smells like honey and yeast. It's very good for you. Do you want your iPad?
Yes.
You ready to go watch that?
Nope, not yet.
Are you gonna stand here and help me then?
Yes.
Okay.
But I need my iPad.
No, my sous chef left me. He decided he would rather watch his iPad in the living room. Told me he can't have it in the kitchen because he wants to watch YouTube and I would probably get copyright, so. Plus, it makes it not for a pleasant video for you guys. So I just went ahead and oiled up my hands, and I'm just gonna get in here and knead this all by hand a little bit, make sure it's all coming together. And I oil my hands so that the dough don't stick. So, might be obvious to some, but if you're new to baking, you might not know that little trick. So, it smells so good, guys. I'm excited for this. Okay, looks good. So I'm just gonna cover this, and I'm gonna put it in a cool, dry place for 2 hours to let my dough rise. So just cover it with a kitchen towel, super easy. And then I have like a little cabinet I like to pop my bread in when it's rising, just so it's dark. Okay, so that worked out perfectly. Just got my kitchen cleaned up and the ovens went off for my second set of cranberry apple muffins. So I have 2 shy of 2 dozen. So we've got, instead of 24, we've got 22 muffins, which is just fine for my family. We are a large family, that's plenty for everybody. So a little tip here, if you don't know, when you're baking things to know if they're done, is you can take a toothpick and just put it through the center. And if it comes out clean, you're good to go. If it comes out with a little extra batter on it, then put it in anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how like wet the batter looks that's on the toothpick. So it's just an easy little trick to know when things are done. And these came out beautifully, just like the first batch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these out of my muffin pan so that they can start to cool down. I need them completely cooled so that I can frost them. Also, removing them from the muffin pan will stop the cooking process. If you keep them in the hot muffin pan, they will continue to cook a little bit more, which probably wouldn't hurt anything. I've never personally had an issue with doing that, but I am gonna frost these later, so I just wanna let them start cooling down since they are thoroughly cooked. One thing I am noticing about this batch of cranberry apple muffins versus the very first batch I did, not the one over there cooling on top of the cakes, but the one I did at Thanksgiving, is that the ones I did on Thanksgiving turned out much more reddish in color. These ones didn't, and I'm not really sure what the difference is because I did the exact same thing. So kind of weird, but I mean, if you guys try this recipe and end up with a reddish color, it's normal because that's what happened with my first batch and it tasted delicious. This batch isn't so red looking, so the only thing I can think is that the cranberry sauce had been in the refrigerator and I might have had more of it. Maybe, no, I think it was just one can, but it had been in the refrigerator. So I don't know if that would make a difference or not, but these don't have that same kind of reddish color to them. Okay, well, everything that I need to bake right now is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and let all of this cool down, let my bread continue to rise, and I will check back in with you guys a little bit later on so that we can start frosting everything. Okay guys, it's been a couple of hours that my dough has had to rise, so look at that, look at that, looking lovely. Anybody else feel like their cook space just gets encroached upon? Like, no space. So I'm gonna go ahead and flour my surface really quickly. And I've already got my loaf pan grease. I just sprayed oil in it, so it is ready to go. Hopefully that is enough. Just to let that hang out with the muffins back there. And go ahead and get my, play a little patty cake down here. Get my hands all good and floured. And then we can just kind of work this into a ball down here. You just want to hand knead it for a little bit, just for fun. I'm sure there's a reason here. I don't know what that reason is. And we're just gonna start shaping it into a loaf. And like this creased area here on the back side, I try to roll that towards the bottom. So when I put it into my loaf pan, I have a nice smooth surface on the top. So we're just kind of trying to shape this into a fairly even-sized loaf, really. Kind of, you know, think bread. Think a loaf of bread, right? That's what we're going for. Make sure everything's evenly distributed because there is some flour on the top. I feel like we're thicker down here than we are up here. She's thick. She got a booty. Might be a member of the itty bitty titty committee, but she got a booty. So, there. Loaf of bread. And I'm just trying to even this out a little bit because it's such looking thick on bottom. So, it looks a little bit better. And I'm going to cover this and let it set for 1 hour. And then I'm going to go ahead and bake it at 350 for about 35 minutes or so. And I'll check back in with you guys when it comes out of the oven. So here I'm working on making some cream cheese frosting. Again, this is a recipe from LauraInTheKitchen.com, so I'll leave a link below for her recipe. But I've got, I'm doubling her recipe. So I've got butter, I've got milk, I've got vanilla extract, I've got cream cheese softening on my stove. My bread is baking in the oven. I did put a little extra honey on top of my bread before I put it in the oven. Just like a light little sprinkling of it. Drizzle to make it taste good. And so in here I'm gonna go ahead and get I don't know, her recipe calls for anywhere from 1 to 2 cups of confectioner sugar, and I'm pretty much doubling that, but I thought I had more confectioner sugar than this. I might have some more in the cabinet. I'm hoping I do because I think I might get right at 2 cups, which might be enough. Like, I don't want it to be overly sweet, but I still want it to be firm. So there's 1 cup. And that is just shy. Maybe that's like right at 2 cups. Right at, if not shy. I'm kind of breathing this in, and it's a little weird because like I'm not eating anything into my mouth, but I'm breathing it in and it's still hitting like the back of my tongue. So I'm like getting that sweetness, and it's weird. You can whip my face mask out of my car. Okay, 2 cups. Hopefully that's enough. I don't know that I have any more. I'll have to make that work. I have not frosted anything in years, so I don't know how well this is gonna turn out. Probably about 6 years ago, right when I started getting into YouTube, I wasn't even making videos at the time. I was just enjoying other people's videos. I fell into cake decorating videos, especially how to decorate cakes. And I actually got some decent tools. My friend, I remember I got this set, which wasn't bad. It's got more pieces in my drawer. But my friend had like a really nice set because she was into it too, and I remember borrowing hers. And I did a few cakes, and they turned out nice. I mean, they were by no means perfect, but like for somebody first trying, I think they looked pretty good. So hopefully I can like remember some of that. So I mean, that just kind of looks like a fairly thick drizzly frosting right there as is. It tastes like a donut frosting, like a glaze. I mean, it's pretty much what it is right now. It's kind of like a glaze. Oh, is this soft enough yet? I need it to be at room temperature. It's feeling pretty squishy. I'm gonna take my chances. So, because I feel like this is gonna be my fastest thing to do, because cake pops is probably gonna take a minute. And let me just say right now, if y'all decide to make some cake pops, and I feel like my phone is not focusing, and I'm sorry for that. That's the problem I've been having with it ever since they had the new iOS update. It just does not want to focus right, which I film with my cell phone. So, if you want to make cake pops, I've seen on somebody else's recipe, I was like watching recipes on how to do cake pops because I've never made them before. Like, I wasn't sure how they work, and they're actually super easy. I've seen where they took, landed on my mail. I've seen where they took some kind of like a cardboard box and like wrapped it in wrapping paper to make it look pretty, and then poked holes and stuck it in there. And I think that would probably be like a super easy way to go if you just happen to have a box sitting around. When I was at Walmart this morning, I seen that they have these cake pop stands, and I think it said it's supposed to hold like 48 cake pops. I don't know, but for like $6, I could have gotten a nice reusable cake pop stand made of plastic. This was like $3 and change. I kind of wish I would have like spent the extra $3 and got a nicer one, because this guy is just, he ain't feeling very secure. I'm a little worried about traveling with it tomorrow. I mean, I don't gotta go very far, but I'm not sure how far it's gonna make it. So for this, I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't put it in my Ninja blender, but I can't begin to tell you how much I don't want to dig that out, and I don't want to have to wash it. And so I feel like I'm probably just going to make things harder on myself and hand mix the whole thing to avoid the dishes of my hand mixer. Not my hand mixer. It's not I don't own a hand mixer. My blender. So I'm hoping. Actually, I probably am going to have to do that, because anytime I've done anything cream cheese related, I can never get it very smooth by hand. I think I always end up with cream cheese chunks. I don't think I've ever had this, not this particular recipe, but anything cream cheese related. I don't think I've ever gotten it smooth, so I gotta dig that dang thing out. So I do absolutely love my Ninja blender. I think it does a fantastic job. I need to get a new one. This one, like, it comes with a larger, like, pitcher that has 2 different blades. It's supposed to have 2 different blades that come in it. Like, this has 2 different blades on it. I hope that's showing up on camera. It's got 2 different blades on it. This is just the smaller one. My large one, when we moved from our trailer into our house, the top blade disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, so it's pretty much useless. I mean, we use it sometimes, but it's really a pain to work with. So I need to replace it. I've never gotten around to it. And when I do stuff like this, a lot of times I have to do small batches because this thing can get overloaded. And it just kind of turns into a pain in the butt, if I'm being honest. I mean, it does a good job. I have fond memories of when it was fully assembled before I lost pieces. This should be okay though. This doesn't look like it's got too much in it. So I'm gonna pop off to the side here and get this blended up. Okay, so my cream cheese frosting turned out really well in the blender. I'm glad I went that route. I know I've got extra dishes, but I saved myself an arm workout. Not that I couldn't use that. And I got a nice smooth frosting, whereas I know if I'd done it by hand, it would have been chunky. So I'm gonna put my muffins over here. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about with this is that my frosting is so smooth, I don't think that it's gonna handle piping. I think that's gonna be pointless. I kind of want to try it, but I also kind of feel like it won't matter, and I should just do it with a knife. But you know what? We're here, so let's go ahead and try piping. Hopefully it turns out well. So I'm interested. What are you guys making for the holidays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate? What is it that you guys make and have on hand at your house? What is a staple for you guys? I need a bigger cup to sit this in. I just want to go to bed. Whew. I feel like I'm probably... So if you guys are interested in a piping bag, a reusable piping bag, this one's from Farberware and I picked it up at Walmart, like I said, like 6 years ago, so. Got a little guy dripping there. I saved it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how important it is to do it with a piping bag because it's so liquidy. Like, I'm gonna pop these in the fridge overnight, so hopefully maybe it'll set up a little more, but a knife would have done exactly the same thing. Okay, muffins are done. Ready for the fridge. Aw, you guys, look at that. I put them in the lid. Ugh, my life. Dang it. Okay, now it's ready for the fridge. If you guys are curious about this cupcake container, I got it from Walmart as well about 1 million years ago, but if they still have it, I'll try to link it below. I love this thing. Perfect for muffins or cupcakes or cookies. I love that it's got the lid on it that clamps tight. It's easy to transport if you're taking them anywhere. Perfect for, you know, after the Rona when your kids have to take snacks. It's a great little container, and I love that it's got like a high lid on it, so if you have anything frosted, because it's meant for cupcakes, if you have anything with frosting on it, your lid's not going to be like compressing that. So perfect little container. Use it a ton. I'm sure you can tell by all the scratches on the top. Okay, right as that was going into the refrigerator, the muffins, my bread beeped, so it was ready to go. Look at that. Big fluffy loaf of bread. It smells amazing. So I'm going to put this off to the side, let it cool, and then I'm going to pop it out, slice it long ways, and then in half. So like everybody would get like half a slice of bread. It's kind of how we're going to work that. And I know that kind of seems like maybe I'm skimping on everybody, but I don't really feel like making another loaf of bread for one. And for two, it's like a potluck family thing. So there's going to be plenty of other foods to pick from and dinner rolls and such. So offering everybody half a slice of bread is probably going to be more than enough, and it'll make it go a little further. So I need to take a moment, rearrange my refrigerator so that everything fits, and then we'll get started on cake pops. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on cake pops. So first thing we're going to need to do is take our sheet cake that we've made and get it all into a mixing bowl. So again, this is just a boxed cake mix that I used, and it has been cooling all day. You really just need at least like room temperature. It doesn't have to be like cold, but you don't want it like melting your frosting when you add it in. And you're going to be using your hands for this. Okay, so to this, we're going to add our frosting. And the frosting mixed with the cake is what's going to make it be able to hold its shape into the ball form. So I don't even know if that's the right tool. I'll just use a knife. And this is just the Great Value brand chocolate frosting, just like the regular. Is buttercream probably? Yeah, it doesn't say if it's buttercream or not. It just says frosting on it. But I'm assuming a buttercream. So with clean hands, we're just gonna mix everything together. And this feels awful. If you have a child that likes to play with slime, get them involved. I, for one, have never been a fan of having goo on my hands. It's just not my thing. You just want to really get in there, make sure it's all really well combined. That way you'll be able to form the little cake balls, cake pops. You know, an apron might not be a bad idea for this particular activity. Didn't take long though. I'd say that's already pretty well combined. Okay, like making a snowball, right? Cake pop. So I'm going to wash up really quickly and I'll be right back with you because we're gonna have to melt some chocolate before you get started making the cake pops. Also, they had a cake pop mold at Walmart. Kind of wishing I bought it. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here, and I hope I'm making these the right size, is I'm using my melon baller just so that I can have them tightly packed, and that's giving me very tiny cake pops. Let me see. Okay, well, I tried the mashed potato scoop, ice cream scoop, and it worked as well, but I feel like that's gonna be like a giant cake pop. So we're just gonna roll with the melon baller, and you know, we may just end up with a dozen tiny cake pops. Hey guys, it is the next day. I struggled last night trying to make those cake pops. I popped the batter into the refrigerator, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know if batter is the right word or not. And we're gonna mess with it here in a minute. If I can't get it to turn into little cake balls after it's been refrigerated, then I actually ended up buying a like mini bundt cake maker this afternoon. I was trying to find a cake ball maker, couldn't find that, but I found a mini bundt cake maker. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but I'm gonna go ahead and make some vanilla cupcakes really quickly. This is another easy thing I can take with me to the party. So 1 box of Duncan Hines classic cake mix, and then this is just gonna need egg whites. I have never done a white cake before, so I've never had to separate out egg whites before, so this will be another adventure in the kitchen. Okay, and then it says 1 cup of water, but I'm going to substitute that out for milk because it'll just give it a more like rich and creamy flavor and texture. I'm literally running out of room in my refrigerator right now. So much in there. Couldn't get to my milk without taking out leftovers, yogurt, and a tub of butter. So 1 cup of milk. Okay, let's figure out how to separate some egg whites. Bowl for shells, bowl for egg whites. Or they need another one for yolks. So I give the yolks to my dog so then we don't waste it. He'll like that. In theory, I know what I'm doing. In practice, I've never tried it. You separate it out like so. Then you do a little back and forth. Trying not to puncture the yolk. Okay, 1 down, 2 to go. Time for more cupcake liners. I think these ones I'm gonna do in all white little cups here. I think that looks so pretty with the white cupcake, with the white frosting, with the sparkly white sprinkles. Nice and snowy looking. Just popped my first batch of cupcakes into the oven, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can do about these cake pops. And this guy actually had to spend the night in my veggie drawer because I have no space in my refrigerator. So let's see what we can do here. So the problem I was running into last night was that I couldn't get them packed tight enough to hold form when I would go to put the stick in. As soon as I go to put this guy in, it would just crumble. So I don't know what was going on. I feel like 2 scoops of this makes a pretty decent sized cake. That's not bad. That is not bad. I will take it. I guess the goal here is to refrigerate your mixture so that maybe it'll stick together better. So I'm gonna work on making a whole bunch of little cake pop balls, and then I'll meet you guys over at the stove to melt some chocolate. Okay, cake pops are finally in pop shape. Got 2 plates of them. So before we head over to the stove, I forgot I need to crush my candy canes. So what I have here is just like an assortment of different candy canes. Some are big, some are little. I've got 2 that are actually peppermints in there. And they're all peppermint flavored candy canes. And I just need to smash them up into a fairly fine powder. So it's really going to be up to you how fine of a powder you want to have. I went through and smashed everything with my rolling pin to begin with, and that did a really good job getting the larger chunks broken down. But now to get things into a finer powder, I'm taking the back side of my spoon and just whacking all of it. And it has done a really good job to really get that down to a fine powder. I suppose you could probably also put it into a food processor, but I don't know what that would do to your blades. It might gum them up, so that's why I'm not doing it with mine. I'm a little leery of doing that, but I mean, you could try it. It might work. Don't get mad at me if it messes up your machine though. So this is all I'm doing, and this is all I'm doing to really give it a good fine powdery look. The little pieces that look like they might be a slightly bigger chunk, I'm just hitting it with the back of my spoon, and it is just pulverizing it. So okay, to my bowl of candy canes, I'm going to add in some sanding sugar. It's just a nice white, shiny, iridescent look. And we're just gonna add that right on in a fair amount. Just kind of mix it up. Just to give it a nice, almost snowy look when we do the top of our cake pops. Okay, now let's melt that chocolate. Okay, if you guys have a microwave, I would really recommend melting your chocolate that way. That's pretty simple. Put it in a microwave safe dish, microwave it for 30 seconds, stir it, 30 seconds, stir it, do that until you have melted chocolate. I don't have a microwave, so I'm gonna do a double boiler. I don't honestly really know what a double boiler is as far as the contraption itself goes, but I know how to kind of like create that myself. So I've got a large pot of water on to boil, and then in a smaller saucepan, we're just gonna sit this down in here. You don't wanna get any water inside the saucepan. And ideally, this would have some kind of a handle on the other side to keep it sturdy, but it doesn't. So we're gonna melt our chocolate inside of this bowl, and that helps keeps your chocolate from burning. So I'm gonna rough this up a little bit, throw it in the pot. And mine is just the Great Value brand almond bark vanilla flavored coating. That's what it's called. It's white chocolate. Okay, I've got a full 6 squares of white chocolate in here. And the reason you do the double boiler is that if you have direct heat on the bottom, you're going to be much more likely to burn your chocolate. Same thing goes if you're working with just regular milk chocolate, dark chocolate. A double boiler or the microwave is really going to be your best bet. So just be careful not to get any water in your chocolate, and be careful not to get any water on yourself or burn yourself. If you have some kind of a pot that has like a handle on the edge here that you can hook on the other side, probably be a lot easier for you. So as our chocolate is starting to melt, I'm going to start taking my cake pop sticks and dipping them in to give them a good coating. Nice coating like that. And then we're just going to insert it inside of our cake pop, and that's going to really help keep the stick inside of the cake pop. Okay, I've got the little sticks on everything, and my candies have gotten hard. You can actually pick the cake pop up. So now we're going to start rolling this all around in the chocolate to get them well coated. Okay guys, this is not working out super good. I'm about to have a cake pop casualty. The stick is going straight through. So I'm going to stick everything in the freezer for a few minutes so we can get the cake cold again and to get that candy really hardened up before we start dipping everything. This guy should be okay to go on a low boil. Being in a double boiler like this should prevent the chocolate from burning. So after our cake pop casualty, I went ahead and popped these guys in the freezer. They are hopefully all set up now and going to handle going into the hot chocolate a little bit better, because that last one fell apart. It tasted delicious. I ate it, but it fell apart. So let's see what we can do now. That is holding up much, much, much better. And we'll do our sprinkles. It is leaking chocolate all over my bowl of peppermint. Something to be cautious of. I don't love this cake pan stand, this cake pop stand. All of these just kind of level up with each other, and I have to put a plate underneath to keep this the littlest bit above the stand itself. It's just not a great design. And we have another one fall apart. Okay. I don't know how well this is going to work out, guys. It fell right into all of my peppermint stuff. It's just not working. So this just feels like it's not working. Even on this guy here, I don't know that it's picking up on camera, but all the chocolate is just melting off into a glob underneath. So I'm wondering if what I should do is throw everything into a cake pan with that in the batter and mix it together and try to form it into some kind of a weird cake. Plan number 2. The chocolate's still on the stick. It did nothing. We're just going to throw it all back into the pan it came from. So if you guys are going to do cake pops at home, I would say look into actually getting a cake pop maker, or at least the molds maybe. I don't know. And if you guys have ever made cake pops at home and I'm just doing something blatantly wrong, let me know, because this is a lot of work and we're not really getting anywhere. So I was thinking about mashing everything, but everything's kind of like in like a nice little ball here. So I'm wondering if I can kind of organize these guys and keep them in their shape they're in now, how that's gonna work, and then do a chocolate drizzle on top with the peppermints. Because this was not working the way I thought it would. And then we'll just do a nice little drizzling on top. And that works out perfect. So, moral of this story, just make a regular chocolate cake. You can pour candy coating on top of it if you so please. The melted chocolate. And then coat it with this. It's gonna be so much more faster and easier and pretty much the same result. So I started working on frosting my first batch of cupcakes, and I mean, they're okay-ish, but they're not great. And I kind of feel like just going through and doing it with like a knife pretty much is just gonna be a lot easier. So it's not the cupcake frosting job I had in mind, but I am no professional baker, so. And on top of all of these, I'm going to do some of the little sprinkles. And since I sprinkled my cupcakes over a bowl, that means I can take a piece of paper and create myself a little funnel. And since there's nothing else in here except the sprinkles, we can just pour them all right back into the container for later. Oh, we are finally done. Here's a quick little overview of everything that I made for my family Christmas party. I think everything turned out really well. I know that we had quite the adventure with the cake pops. My son wants his dad's attention. I know we had a bit of an adventure with the cake pops, but I think they turned out okay. I know they taste delicious. We'll see how easy they are to get out of the bowl or the, you know, the pan. We'll see, but they look pretty anyways. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. I need to get everything loaded up in the car so we can get on the way. So can't wait to see everybody tonight. I hope you guys are having a very happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate. If you are new, I hope you decide to check out my channel, see if there's anything else you'd like to watch. If you've been with me for a while, I want to say thank you so much for subscribing and hanging out with me. Let me know what your favorite holiday goodies are down below, and I can't wait to catch you guys in my next video. Bye.
Dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Hi, Pog! I'm saying dinosaur! Dinosaur.